Hi, everybody. I'm Brittany Lewis with Forbes Breaking News. Joining me now is my colleague, senior editor Chase Peterson-Withorn. Chase, thanks so much for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We have a conversation that really has been happening for years. There has been always a lot of interest in Donald Trump's finances. That interest has been renewed in recent weeks as the former president finds himself owing hundreds of millions of dollars in legal penalties. So first, to start off the conversation, can you walk us through how he got here?
Yeah, so Donald Trump has been battling several court cases, criminal and several civil court cases, and basically he's on the hook for more than 540 billion dollars in legal penalties. It's hard to keep track of of the numbers, and so as it stands right now, he'll owe something like 540 million dollars plus interest. But of course, he's fighting those cases, and that could drag on for months or maybe years. And those cases are E. Jean Carroll, and then the New York State civil trial about him inflating the value of his assets, which is something that we know very well here at Forbes. So it's $540 million that he owes, and that's a huge chunk out of his net worth, obviously, because we're subtracting that from the assets, that we value him at, because he owes that money.
That's a huge chunk out of his net worth, but lay out his financial situation for us, because something really interesting you're reporting happened to his net worth as we sit here today. Talk about that.
Yeah, that's right. So Donald Trump has $500 million in new liabilities, but the asset side of his net worth is way up today, because shares have begun trading in Truth Social, the parent company of Truth Social, Trump Media and Technology Group, has finally merged with the SPAC that it planned to merge with all the way back in October 2021. That's finally happened, and the shares are way up. And so Donald Trump's net worth has more than doubled, basically in just a matter of hours, because the shares that he owns in that company are now trading at a huge number. So it's a big day for Donald Trump's net worth. He's richer than he's ever been, and the numbers are certainly higher than they've ever been. But it remains to be seen how much of that money he ends up walking away with, because his shares are locked up for 6 months. He's not able to sell them or even pledge them as collateral for a loan for 6 months. And this is a very volatile stock that sort of goes up or down. It's a meme stock. It goes up or down sort of based on Trump's popularity and the whims of traders. So we'll see where it ends up. But right now, his net worth is up more than double, which is it's a good day for Donald Trump.
It must be a good day for anyone. You go to bed last night, your net worth is $2.3 billion. You wake up this morning, it's at $7.3 billion, according to Forbes. Chase, you've been covering billionaires for years. How common is this to, in just a couple of hours, a billionaire see their net worth more than double?
Yeah, double or triple of your net worth in a couple hours or a couple days is very rare. In sheer dollar numbers, being up a few billion here or there, the people at the top of the list, that happens on a minute-by-minute basis. Bill Gates or Elon Musk, their net worth might go up or down by $4 or $5 billion, but percentage-wise, not obviously they're not doubling or tripling in a day. So that's it's a rare feat, and it's definitely a really great day of gains on paper, at least for Donald Trump so far.
Since his net worth ballooned by $5 billion, is he going to have as much difficulty covering these legal penalties? Because right now he's on the hook, as you said, for over $500 million.
Yeah, so this doesn't really impact his ability to sort of cover those legal penalties, at least right now, because he's locked up, and so he can't do anything with these shares for 6 months. It's possible that he could get a waiver and be able to sell or borrow against them, but that might be easier said than done, because it could invite a lot of scrutiny and legal challenges. But as it stands right now, he does not have the ability to sort of tap into this wealth, so he can sort of watch the numbers go up or down on a computer screen like the rest of us. But there isn't too much he can do with it right now. But the amount that he owes, obviously his net worth is several billion dollars. Even putting aside these shares, it's a couple $1 billion. So he could sell assets and do things like that to cover this if he wanted to. But yeah, right now he's kind of just sitting there watching these numbers go up or down like the rest of us.
He'll be watching them for 6 months when he's out of that lockup agreement, which is puts him in the fall. So was there any indication, because Truth Social went public through a SPAC merger, that the prices will be this high in 6 months?
Yeah, so of course, it's impossible to predict the future of any stock, and particularly a meme stock, and particularly a meme stock tied to Donald Trump. But historically, SPAC companies, the share price does decline in general, and the valuation of this business that's somewhere around $10 billion is so completely and totally divorced from any fundamental business justification, that it would not be surprising if the shares were trading much lower by the time that 6 month lockup is up. The business generated something like $4.6 million in revenue over the past 4 quarters, which is tiny, really tiny. It's something like half of a Cheesecake Factory restaurant's revenues in a single year. And on that 4.6 million in revenue, the business lost $40 million. So if you're buying shares of Trump Media Technology Group today at $70 a share or whatever, you're getting a tiny piece of a business that is losing a tremendous amount of money. It's barely generating any business on its own, and it's really more of a, for a lot of people, I think it's more of a play to just bid it up because they're excited about Donald Trump or something like that. But at the end of the day, if you're hoping that that's going to one day turn into great profits and dividends and owning a piece of a viable business, that definitely very much remains to be seen.
A phrase that you used a few times now is meme stock. You and Dan Alexander in your reporting said that meme stock traders could potentially bail out the former president. Can you remind everyone at home what exactly a meme stock is and a meme stock trader?
Yeah, sure. A meme stock is sort of just it's a stock that people are buying and selling based on sort of enthusiasm. I don't know a better way to say that. People who are excited because they have some nostalgia factor with the brand, or they are fans of the company or the person running the company. And so they're sort of often buying these stocks just to see the numbers sort of go up. And it doesn't really matter if, they're not buying for the reasons Warren Buffett might be buying into a share, which is he thinks that this is a business that's going to be around for a long time, or he likes the dividend that it's paying out. It's pretty unclear whether True Social is going to be around for a long time, and it's very far away from being able to pay a dividend.
What I'm having trouble understanding, and if you could explain this for us, is you're saying that in the past 4 quarters, Truth Social hasn't brought in as much as your average neighborhood Cheesecake Factory. How is his stake in the company worth so much?
Yeah, I mean, that's the multi-billion-dollar question, and it's a difficult question to answer. We'll put it that way. Basically, if investors are willing to buy and sell shares at $70 a share, and you multiply the 79 million or so shares Donald Trump owns, you get billions and billions of dollars. But a lot of the people who are buying into these, shares are buying one share or two shares here and there. So they're putting up maybe $150 because they're excited about Trump potentially winning the election or something like that. And I'm sure there's no shortage of people who are buying in because they think they can get in and then turn around and sell it on the way up before it goes back down. So it's just pure speculation and hoping to turn a profit on others' stupidity. But at the end of the day, somebody's going to be on the losing end of those trades, and everybody thinks it won't be them. And so that's sort of that's a big part of what's going on. And so that's how you get these really high numbers for Donald Trump's stake. But if you're wondering what the justification is for that, I think just about everybody else is too.
I know that, as you said, he his net worth ballooned today, more than doubled. It was also a good day for him, relatively speaking, financially. On Monday, he only needed to pay $175 million out of the more than $454 million in the civil fraud case. But that's still $175 million he's on the hook for imminently. Does that amount of money hurt him financially?
Yeah, I mean, any time that you have to write a check, it kind of hurts. And anytime you have to write a check for $175 million, I would imagine that really hurts. So, we think that he has the cash to do it. We think he has a little over $400 million worth of cash. Trump himself said he has, nearly $500 million worth of cash. So, him having to write a check for $175 million to post a bond, to put up some money while he appeals one of his judgments. That's not going to be fun for him, but we do think that he can cover it. It was a lot more difficult for him if he was going to have to come up with the whole thing, because he was on the hook for more than the amount of cash that he had. And once you get into that, you have to start thinking about selling buildings, or whether the New York Attorney General was going to seize buildings. A lot of Donald Trump's net worth is tied up in illiquid assets that are very difficult to sell. And if everybody knows that you're highly motivated to sell because you have to, then it becomes a fire sale. So it seems that he's sort of avoided that with the ruling that he could put up less money up front. He still owes the same amount right now that he was going to owe if he's not successful on appeal. But the amount of money he has to put up in the meantime is lower, and that really helps Trump's sort of liquidity crunch of trying to figure out where he's going to come up with $500 million. Now he only has to come up with $175 million, and it was about $100 more million in the other case. So 275 or so for Trump is a lot easier, than 550, given that he only has about $400 million or so in cash and liquid assets.
Chase, you are the expert here. You've been covering Donald Trump's finances for years now. As we sit here right now, is there anything on the horizon, anything you're looking at, anything on your radar when it comes to the former president's finances?
Yeah, there's a lot that's up in flux right now. Trump's core assets are pretty stable. He's owned a lot of them for a long time. They're, skyscrapers and clubs and places like Mar-a-Lago and golf courses and Trump Tower. And that stuff doesn't tend to be super volatile over time. But he has a lot of debt that's still coming due in coming years that he'll have to renegotiate, particularly on some properties like 40 Wall Street, where it's possible that might even end up in bankruptcy, one day if he's not able to renegotiate some of the deal there. But then the huge volatility of this, Truth Social stock is going to really make this number go up or down. Tracking his net worth is going to be a lot more exciting on a day-to-day basis than it was before. And then, of course, just what ends up happening with these fines and with all the other cases that he's sort of facing. There's just a lot that could change. And so, Trump could be worth many billions of dollars, several months from now. He might not be a billionaire several months from now. There's just so much more up in flux, I think, than usual for Trump.
Sounds like a volatile situation. Well, as things develop, as they progress, I hope you come on in and break it down for us. Chase, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.